when a husband dies and the wife marries that man, then she's supposed to shave her hair as a practice. And one has been stopped, the one that you had to put your clothes inside out. But now the shaving of part of your hair is really what does not go well. And also there is part of inheriting widows by the brothers from that home.
Okay. Thank you. Those are two important issues. Shaving, I could just put it as shaving for the dead because I'm not very aware.
Derito, who is recording for you, or who will present to the main meeting?
Oh, thank you. I'm trying to do both of the whatever because it wasn't organized. So I'm still recording. I'm also recording the idea. So could we continue to the next? There's still another person with something that we haven't considered.
Yes.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning to you.
My name is Kezia.
Yes.
There is this belief in Kikuyu tradition that when they pray, they face a tree, mugumo tree.
Okay. Okay, so there is a form of prayer that is a challenge. I hope all of us would type this, which we have given. It's a challenge for me in my laptop. It used to work. I'm using my phone, and it's a bit hard to type at the same time.
I'm typing, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So a form of prayers that is not in accordance with the Bible, praying as you face or making sacrifice at the mugumo tree, according to the Kikuyu practice. And also now that is worshipping to the god of Kirinyaga for that matter. Okay. Any other?
Yeah, the shaving of the children by the grandmother once they are born in some communities.
Okay, then you need to tell us how it contradicts the scriptures, because some we may not even have an idea what is. Now, you need to at least tell us if you think it contradicts Christian. Just tell us which part it is.
Yeah, then, it's really, if the child, the belief is that if the child is not shaved by the grandmother, that child may die or become man, which it, and life is given by God, so that's what contradicts the scripture.
Superstition, yeah? Maybe I also have heard about twins. There are communities where twins are not allowed to live. One of them, I don't know if somebody would confirm, but I know that one is supposed to be killed because both of them are. So I don't think that is accordance to the Bible.
Which culture is that? Which tribe is that?
Well, we seem to be, we have a very short time remaining. The next question. What is the difference between customs that are just our preferred culture and customs that are actually practiced? So, which are culture, which are just customs that we do, but some others are practiced African religion? And are you an African Christian or a Christian African?
I think, for example, that of
praying while facing Mount Kenya by the Kikuyus is actually African religion, because they must look, you see, like the way Muslims who identify where Mecca is and face that way, or build their mosques facing that way. So it's the same, that's religion. They must face Mount Kenya. But when it comes to preferred culture, I think I would put generally dowry payment without necessarily the individual practices within it as a preferred culture, because there are places nowadays where they're not really careful with that, especially with today's Christians. They just told kuja na ile uko nayo, ile appreciation and chukua msichana, yeah. And then I think I am what am I, Christian African? I think so.
Okay. What is the difference between African Christian and Christian African? So you are Christian first, and then
African
first, and then a Christian, or which?
Right, welcome back. I can see we have more people who have joined in. Amazing, and good morning. Good to see you all. Welcome, and I hope you had a very, very insightful discussion during the breakout rooms, especially just looking at the questions. Most of us, I think we needed more time just to be able to brainstorm and just look through, but I believe we will be able to be equipped even more during our lesson today. At this time, I'd like to invite us just to head into giving feedback for the breakout sessions. You can share on the chat session, on the chat section, and I'll be able to review your feedback. But I'll also be calling out different groups just to share their feedback in regards to the questions as well. So karibuni sana for those who joined in later. Thank you. It's amazing, and it's a pleasure seeing you this morning. At this point, I'd like just to invite us again, just continue sharing on the chat. You can just be able to share, and I can see already we have the questions are already up on the chat, in case I'll be inviting us just to be able to share what we've been able to discuss during the breakout rooms. So you can as well go ahead and share, and I'll be able just to review them. At this point, I'd like to invite a representative from Group 1 to help us tackle number 1. And just to read it out, give an example of a practice accepted by African churches that contradicts the scripture. I'd like to invite a member from Group 1, a representative, to be able to share with us what they discussed in line with question number 1.
Thank you so much, Anne, for the opportunity. Abraham here from Group 1. And let me just admit to the questions, mind-blowing. Yeah, they require a lot of thinking and a lot of brainstorming. So on question number 1, we have been able to come up with 3 things. 1 was the rites of passage that we got things to do circumcisions. Yes, it's biblical, but as Africans, we tend to go to the extremes of including other stuff, and some of these things some Christians partake and they accept. The other thing is on the dowry payment. We also go to the extremes. Yes, we say we are Christians, but still we tend to go to the extent and to the extremes. And also on the burials. Burials are the send-offs. We tend to even go beyond what the Bible has prescribed as acceptable, right? Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Abraham. And indeed, we'll be able to be just equipped more in line with this, we're still brainstorming and thinking, is this really the right way or so? And also just to add a point also from my group 8, they also talked about, just to add about baptism. yeah, there are other traditions who do it differently and, move in under the flag or something. Yeah, so there are quite a number of things. Thank you for sharing and guiding us on number 1. I'd also like to invite group 16 to guide us on number 2. What's the difference between the customs that are just our preferred culture and customs that are actually practice African religion.
Okay, this is Robinson speaking on behalf of Group 16. And okay, the question sounded a bit tough, I think, to crack, but the way we looked at it is that there are certain things that we find we are being required to participate in, and sometimes they have, you would say, religious undertones in the background. And specifically, we're talking about the aspect of dowry, where you find you are being warned about what could happen if you do not do certain things. So you find that, for instance, that parents are told not to receive dowry for their daughter because this or the other was not done, for their mother. And so you wonder whether you are participating in dowry simply because it's part of the Kikuyu custom, if I give that example, or because of the religious implications. And you wonder what the religious implications if they are not guided by the fact that you are a Christian. So that is one example we could cite in that context. So it's not so much participating because it's part of the culture and custom, but because it's part of the African religious culture or, implications for not, quote unquote, worshipping the ancestors, as an example. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Robinson, for guiding us through that question as well, and how you are able just to discuss it during your group. Indeed, I agree with you, and we are going to be needing more clarification as well during this session. There's so much, questions that we have in mind. At this point, I'd like to invite James Kihara. I can see he's already shared feedback in regards to the next question, and maybe he can be able just to, guide us through on how they came into that answer as well. Karibu, James, from Group 7.
Thank you. You mean question 3, right?
Pardon?
You mean question 3?
Yes. I can see you've already shared I'm an African Christian. Yeah.
We were not really able to fully discuss. We were kicked out of the session, but we had one of us had mentioned that we are an African Christian. In that sentence, Christian is the object, and African is the, I think, what they call adjective or something. I'm not sure if they are English teachers here. That means we are Christians first. Then, of course, we became Africans first when we were born, but immediately we become Christians. Things turn around, and our Christianity or our Christian identity takes up first. So we identify first with the heavenly citizenship before we can identify with our African heritage. So we are Christians first, then Africans once we get saved. Yeah.
Okay. You said we are Christians first, then Africans once we get saved. I had that at the end.
I said of course we were born Africans first, but the moment we get saved, our Christian identity takes over as the first identity, then African later.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Also, I'd like to invite, I can see Boniface Muthomi has also shared feedback in regards to that question. Maybe Boniface, you can as well share your perspective as well. Thank you, James.
Well, when we ask this question in our group, initially it was obvious thing that I'm a Christian African, and then because now you are first a Christian who is born in Africa, whereas an African Christian who born in Africa. However, someone raised something very interesting, saying that an adjective comes before a noun, and it got me thinking. So, am I describing is the Christian the adjective describing the noun, which is now Africa? So, in other words, the second one, the noun seems to be more weightier than the adjective. So, I thought to myself, wait, so what am I describing? So, I think I'm an African Christian. The African coming first is basically describing who I am, in the sense that I come from Africa, I am born in Africa, lived in Africa. However, I am a Christian, so it's an interesting discussion. However, kenye namaanisha ni kwamba mimi am a Christian, and then any other adjective can now come before or after that. But me, I'm a Christian. That is who I am. Back to you. And
Wow. Thank you very much, Boniface, for highlighting that as well. Amazing. Thank you very much. Also, I can see Anne Karaoke from Group 17. Also for them in regards to that question, Christian Africans. Wow. And also, I think I'll just be able to review. I can see feedback coming in on the chat. Thank you very much for those who are already participating and sharing. Remember, this is going to be a very, very interactive and engaging question session. I know we have so many questions, so just keep sharing on the chat. Our speaker of the day will be able to guide us even as we proceed. I can also see we have feedback joining from Group 6. In regards to question 1, they said praying facing a particular side, women not allowed in leadership in certain African churches. Okay, thank you for highlighting that. And also I can see in regards to number 2, they've talked about the customs, the dowry in regards to the Kikuyu, the Rorashio, and also we see the Kalenjins, this is also another key aspect. And also, number 3, they talked about we are Christian Africans in that we choose what to prioritize when it comes to religious matters that entails us doing certain things. In that we choose the Christian way first, okay. For example, naming of children where it requires you recognize the dead, you will have not comply and go the Christian way. So there's the contradiction, between the two aspects, and most of us have questions as highlighted in that as well. Also, I can see Matthew as well has shared from Group 10. Thank you very much, Matthew. And he talks about, polygamy. I think this had not been mentioned as well. We've talked about circumcision, baptismal names, and the dowries as well. Thank you very much. And also, I can see there's a very interesting aspect, and this comes in the second bit. They talked about offering in form of food and singing with drums, like kegosho, and how we dress as well. Dress code as a form of worship and holiness and covering the heads. Indeed, we've seen this event to date. We see there are traditions who do this as well. So thank you very much as well. I can see also in line with question 3, you've talked about it, African Christian, because of the language she speaks and relates to God the African way. Okay, so there's this, people have the different aspects and we're looking forward to learning more. So just to encourage us, let us keep engaging on the chat. And in case you have any question, kindly share it as well. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome our principal, Elder Bernard Awara, to highlight the updates. And thank you for joining us this morning once again.
Thanks a lot, Sister Dora. Good to have you take us through this in terms of just moderating. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. It's been an amazing journey from very first lesson to this day, and we bless the Lord as we bring this to a close in terms of classes. We want to be very grateful and honored because of the goodness of the Lord and the diligence as well that we have been able to put it's great to see that all of us have beaten the anxiety around the presidential tiling process that is ending and not ending, and being able to arrive here just for the class. We are glad and we bless the Lord for you. I think we'll simply go on and do this the usual way we go through the class, but we want to thank God for this far. What is it that I would want to say at this particular point? Just to point out that, yes, our graduation is set for 11th of September.